Welcome back to What's Real Hip Hop. This is your boy Big Business. This is the Move Makers edition. This section is about the movement. How do you move the crowd? How do you move the audience? How do you move units? These talented individuals, business owners and artists are moving the crowd, and they're moving to a place near you, and we're gonna find out a little bit about their movement and how they got it started on this episode. Okay, we are back, and you got to make moves to improve, and all of these people on this panel are improving themselves in a major way.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Vibes SVG. I represent GIN TV, also represent Sky's Limit Radio, also represent Tampa Vibes web series. Based from New York, we're a TV show. We just expanded from the GinTV.com. We're all over the world right now. And we just basically do everything in entertainment.
Name's Richie Infinite, man. Everything Richie Infinite. That's what I represent. Infinite Tracks, you know what I'm saying, the hip hop artist. I also represent Richie Infinite, the American Ninja Warrior athlete. And I also represent Richie Infinite, the EA Sports project manager / quality designer for NBA Live. First and foremost, it's Infinite Tracks.
What's up, everyone? My name is Rival. I represent Team Rival. You can find me at www.rival727.com. I'm a hip hop artist and I represent St. Petersburg, Florida.
Bay Area on the map. I love this. Is what I do. This is what I get these paychecks and spend them on. Besides the rent, the lights, the electric, all that good stuff. And we're here to discuss movements. How do you get that kind of following where you're able to sell merchandise, sell music, people actually come to your events and concerts. And people really want to know how to do that because all these people on Twitter and Instagram, all of them are really trying to make a statement, but some of them don't know how to actually get to that point where they can influence and make moves. Everybody on this panel, multiple revenue streams, has been in several places on tour, on concerts, reality TV, multiple things that they're doing, and they're established, they're businessmen. So what we're going to discuss is how did they get to that point where they're able to do these things and reach this level of success? Because I call myself big business, but the reason I call it, not because I have a lot of money, but because we all are our own business. When you have a job, you're going to have a certain amount of money that passes through your hands in this lifetime. And if you got a decent job, it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million if you work 40 or 50 years. How are you managing that money? What are you doing to flip that money and make it into something else, something larger? These people are doing it. So, Infinite, I want to start with you because you are doing a lot of things here recently. We're just on a nationally syndicated show. Millions of followers follow this show. Several fans actually attended and watched you on this show, and that's just tying into all of those multiple revenue streams and expanding that fan base. So I wanted to give you an opportunity to speak on that because I know that's hot right now. That's definitely trending. And how did you get to this point?
What up, Richie Infinite? It all started with the root of everything is the undying hunger to establish a foundation for my family's family. It's the root of everything I do.
Right.
And that is why I got to this point. Well, that's the root of how I got to this point, because that hunger is just going to drive a fever that won't stop until that goal is attained. And you know, I'm also one who who can't rely on one item or another. I have to have a safety net. When I was a kid, I was never diagnosed with anything crazy, but I know if I would have went to a doctor, I probably would have been diagnosed with a bunch of stuff. Just because I had that feverish focus on just being the best at whatever I put my mind to. And you know, hip hop was with me since I was 9 years old. I was in a group called the Rugrats in Fayetteville, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? We was on the verge of getting signed, and that's when the passion immediately started. And that's what was the first dream. And as it grew, you know what I'm saying, as I grew up, life changed, family and other things came into vision. So when you're no longer supporting just for yourself, you can't be putting your life on the line, you know, possibility of going away 10, 15 years off that dumbness.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to rearrange your thought and your focus. My focus, the same furious focus that I got on this legit business stuff, I used to have on the opposite side of things.
Okay.
So it was just flipping that to another side, completely changing the path that I was on to try to maximize the potential. So hip hop, you know what I'm saying? I went to Full Sail, graduated. I was setting up a show at AK Lounge back in the day in Orlando. If y'all remember, AK Lounge used to be a hotbed. I saw a newspaper, EA needed some folks, you know what I'm saying? I started at EA. That same feverish passion, finally found a career where I didn't have to alter myself, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which I never alter myself, and that's why many 9-to-5s didn't last for so long.
That being authentic, not being afraid to be who you are, and if a job doesn't like you for who you are, you might need to leave that job, because ultimately you're not going to be happy with what you're doing anyway. And then I think that's one of those things where you turn the page and say, you know what, that's not for me, so I'm probably going to have to make what's for me, because I don't see it out there.
Exactly. When I saw that, that opened my eye to where somewhere I could finally make it without having in the corporate world with something that I love doing, you know what I'm saying? Games was in my heart since the get-go. I played Madden just like many people in this room. I grew up with NBA Live. I remember a story of my mom didn't have no money, but just gave me like 25, so I had to cut grass to get the other NBA Live, and I lost the money in the Toys R Us getting NBA Live 95. And she went in her pocket. I stayed at Toys R Us for hours down, but when I went out there, you know what I'm saying, she went out of her heart to go in and pick out and give me that live. So to be able to work on something that was a foundation, you know what I'm saying, just blew me up, and it changed my life to where I was focused on responsibility. Got my family, you know what I'm saying, I got my wife, my beautiful wife, who always kept me going even in the craziest of times. Right. But then, you know, establishing that career is something I had to do first. So I've been performing since the get-go, you know what I'm saying? And I was doing hip-hop big time in Tampa with Kino Sabi, you know what I'm saying, with my dog.
How many years have you been performing?
I've been performing for about 17 years. Been spitting though since I was 9, legit. And actually, if you put the 3 performances we did as the Rugrats, it's been since I was 9 years old. You know what I'm saying? We made our first mixtape off of Craziest, Naughty by Nature's instrumental, Our Mad Bike back in the day, right, and a few others that we made some original tracks to, you know what I'm saying? That was that.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm gonna stop you for a second, because I want to key in on some of these points that he's saying, because sometimes when you have that energy that you have, people miss what you're saying that's really that page turner. You know, when you said be authentic, and then put in your time. 17 years performing, that's not an overnight process, but he's still grinding, he's still taking it to a different level. A lot of people enter into whatever they do, entertainment, business, and they expect some type of overnight success deal. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. And if it does happen where you start to reach a height you're not prepared for, because you had to put in that work, you're gonna fall pretty fast, because you weren't ready for that type of trajectory, so you don't know how to make those decisions, because you haven't faced those situations before. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna come back, because we're gonna switch it up a little bit, because I don't want people to start tuning out what people are saying, because it's real. When this man says 17 years, you need to reflect on that. You don't even need to talk no more, because that makes a mindset change. I've only been doing this for 5-6 years. Well, you got another 10. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of thing is the mindset adjustment to be a move maker and to make a movement. You got to put that work in. Vibes, I'm coming to you because you do a lot of things. And you got that youthful face, so I don't even know how long you've been doing anything. You could have been doing for 30 years and you look like you're 25 in the face. I don't know.
Not that old, but I got some age on me, man. Basically, I started in Brooklyn as an artist. You know, it was Vibes, you know, doing reggae and soca, you know, from an early age. This is the 90s, you know. I got a deal with Olivia from G Unit, that was my peoples and stuff like that. When her contract, you know, flopped, basically, you know, starting over also. I turned down a meeting with Bad Boy and everything. I was doing my thing with you know, a whole group from my neighborhood. It was kind of like Wu-Tang on, you know, those kind of days. Yeah. I was the only one doing reggae, you know, so I kind of stand out from the rest. Everybody else was doing hip hop. Every time I came, you know, they say I killed it. They didn't even know if they was understanding what I was saying, but they liked the flow, and you know, I was always doing my thing. But like I said, you know, when the deal you know, messed up with Olivia, you know, I just had to start over. It did teach me a lot. I did, get to do a lot of things like get on BET and
Let me interrupt
open up for a whole bunch of artists.
Let me interrupt you because that's one of those turning points. When you had to start over, because I know you had that point where it's like, okay, it's on, you know what I'm saying? I'm signed, we about to do this thing. We about to go international. And then executive change, things moved, and you had to start over. What was the biggest lesson that you learned from that?
You have to branch out. You have to keep business-wise. You have to think business-wise. I know it's great to have loyalty. You know what I'm saying, with everything you got going, but you still got to have an open mind to business adventures and make sure yourself is think for, is catered for. You got to think about yourself. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm good at two things right now. You know what I'm saying? I can do this music and get, I got my grind on. Okay, that got you so far you failed. Well, maybe I need to grow a leg in this merchandising thing, because maybe that can sustain me and grow me to a different level. So when you fall, you know how they say break a leg? When you break a leg, you need to grow a leg. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the only way you're gonna keep your balance and come back stronger than you were. You know what I mean? Keep going with your story a little bit.
As far as doing reggae and soca, I got to travel, go on tours, open up for big artists. Like I said, I got to go on BET. That was big achievements for me. After that, just being an artist, I started to think about how can I get out there in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I started hosting, right? After hosting, I said, I could throw my own parties. I could throw my own events where, I can feature myself and, feature other things, but, I have control of it. Right? So I'm saying I'm going to be the special guest, And I started doing those kind of events, and I was good at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I started hosting for GIN TV. That was one of my partners, the CEO, his name is JP Groucho. And I teamed up with him, started hosting, and I did that for a year. And I brought in he was doing a lot of hip hop, everybody you could think of. If you ever check out GIN TV, check out GINTV.com, just look at, a couple drops that we have, it's 20 minutes of historic artists, not no regular artists, historic artists.
When you talk about GIN TV, it was a situation where you're seeing nationally recorded, famous, on tour artists on all of these videos representing GIN TV. Right. And I put the connection because that work you were doing as an artist, you started to cultivate those relationships. Right. And then now you're able to have a Big Daddy Kane say what's up from, back in the day, or have an artist like a Shabba Ranks, and then you see all these names, I'm like, how does he know all these people? How does GIN TV have all these connections? But it's that whole mentality where you kept evolving and growing and put that tool in the toolbox. Like, okay, from an artist I learned this, then I'm hosting, then I'm doing this, but continually growing and meeting new people and putting all of that together to build your own brand and your own sound. Yeah. So you have a following, and I think that's important for people to understand that all of those different things got you to the point to where you were.